Welcome to a very special episode of Ethan Plays Live.
Don't force me out of bed in your society. Don't push me down the road you're playing down. Don't try to fix my head, it's just your anxiety. Don't hush me now, cause I just wanna shout. Don't make me dance to a tune that you're humming. No, my body don't move like that. Don't make me pretend I don't see your shortcomings. You'll be running when I raise the black flag. Get out your bomb and fly away. We'll be dancing with our hands in the air when our new dawn is rising, to the break of dawn. You can't keep me in a cage made of tired ideas. It's rusting out faster by the day.
All right, good evening, everybody. I hope that your day was better than mine. How are you? Uni will be here soon, so his little place over there is all ready for him whenever he comes in. I know he's doing stuff, but he's Uni, he's late. It's like his brand, so what else would you expect? I had a bad day. How was yours? I want to hear about your day. As always, here on Ethan Plays Live, your comments are front and center. You are the star of the show. I'm just your host. So any comment that you have, any questions that you have that I'm able to catch, I will definitely put up on the stream. We don't put restrictions on who can talk and who can't talk as long as you're not breaking YouTube's TOS. Of course, you can't break YouTube's TOS. But beyond that, any question that you have, any comment that you have is welcome. And I'll do my best to address it if I am able. And maybe it's good that Uni isn't here at the beginning because I have to tell you a story. I have to tell you how my morning went. Actually, overall, my day wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. It was the morning went well, and then afternoon went south. It's gotten better. Okay, so Kyle Curtis and I used to do a show called Discuss. You've probably seen it. The show, I put it back up on the channel today. I had left Kyle a message on Discord, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago when I said, why don't we do an episode of Discuss and let people come in and talk to you and ask you questions? Because there's a bunch of stuff going around, a bunch of rumors, whatever you want to call them. And it would be a chance for people to connect with you and address them. And he said that would be fine. He contacted me around 11:15 or so. I was on a break from work. And he said that he would be happy to. And I told him a lot of things. I'm not going to tell you the entire content of the conversation. But one of the things, and I put a screenshot out on Twitter and on Discord and everything, I told him he needed to turn himself in, and that whatever discussion we had, that was going to be part of the discussion, that I believed he needed to go face down his warrant. And I didn't expect it to happen like this. The other thing that I was going to tell Kyle, because we were going to do it Thursday night, is that every time that I've spoken to him recently, he has not been sober. And I plan to confront him about that publicly because he needs help. And what I was going to tell him is that I do want Discuss to come back with him, but not until he's sober and not until he addresses his legal challenges. And maybe that was a bad move on my part that I planned to ambush him like that, but I did. And I figured that maybe it was a good way to get through to him. And, you know, on some level, I am happy Sorry, I'm being messaged. I am happy that this is going to be happening because it's going to force him to be sober. And Sam will get there. I'll like I said, I'll answer every question. This isn't question answering time yet, but I will answer that question. And I think we have a Unirock.
Yes,
Uni,
can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you. Give me just a moment.
Okay.
Let's see. Why can't I hear you? What am I forgetting here? No, your sound is coming through. It's on my end.
Check.
Everyone else can hear you.
Oh, they can hear me? Okay, so it must be inside
Chat
of
can hear
OBS
you, I
or
just
vMix.
That
sucks.
Why is it not mixed into my mix? Should be.
Probably just have to figure out where to turn it
Oh, I
up
think I
at.
know what it is. Hold on.
I wish I could put a little picture of Busy up here, but it doesn't give me the option. Oh well. Checkity. I probably should have showed up 5 minutes early so you could get all this stuff together.
Oh, I see why. Okay.
Checkity check. Can you hear me?
Sometimes this thing
Can you hear me now?
absolutely annoys the shit out of me, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's how these things go.
No, I'm
That's
still
how
getting
these
it.
things work.
Hmm.
What?
Bizarre.
Let
This is
me
why I
jump
hate
out and come
VMix.
back
This is
in.
why I stopped using it.
Tell him I'm going to jump out and come back in, y'all.
Because everything says I should be able to hear you right now. Let me try this. Try this. See if you're in this mix. Nope, you're not in the B mix either. I don't know. I can't hear you. I'm sure you're saying very interesting things though, and I'm sure that the chat loves everything that you're contributing.
Checkity.
Now I got you. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good man.
I'm sorry about that. You were in master A mix instead of B mix, so my apologies.
I do have an echo. I can hear myself talk, but that's okay. I can manage it. I can try to manage it. I just turn it down a little bit. So what are you talking about, Ethan? What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
It's complicated. Hold on, I gotta take you out of a mix. Hold on, because you're in both mixes. That's why there's an echo.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, now say something.
Check.
Say it again.
Still echoing.
No, that's still echoing. No, because the audience is hearing an echo, so it's not okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get her.
Yep, I gotta put you in a different mix. Hold
That's
on.
why I didn't use vMix.
This is why I fucking hate vMix. I'm telling you, this is why I despise it because
I switched to StreamYards.
You shouldn't be. You should not be in a different mix, but you are. Because what it does is it changes Windows settings to put you in a
it takes
different
the
mix.
mix and V's. It puts a V out. That's
Correct.
why they call it V.
Correct. All right, go ahead and say something.
Check.
Nope, see, you're still there.
It's still coming back.
Yeah. This is why I hate vMix, because I bet if I go
Well, let
back
me try
in
to
here,
jump out and come back in again.
Well,
Because it fixed it last time.
No, we'll just do a Discord call. Just call me
Oh,
on
okay.
Discord. Yeah, that's better.
All right.
Sorry, guys. This is why I hate vMix sometimes, because what's going on is I change it, and then vMix changes it back after I change it and close the window. Like, what am I going to do? All right, give me a second, because I got to pull you in. Okay, speak. There we go.
All right, let's see here.
There we go. Oh, he can't
check.
Yep, because I got push to talk on. There we go. Now you can hear me.
Now I can hear you.
Yes, sorry about that, everybody. All right, so as I was explaining before you came in, I talked to Kyle this morning basically for like 20 minutes. And we had decided to go... we decided to do an episode to discuss on Thursday night at 7. And
Nice.
my plan was to confront him about the fact that every time I've spoken to him recently, he hasn't been sober. And that he needs to face his legal challenges. I put a screenshot out that's what I said to him. I said, you gotta, said something, publicly, I gotta say, I encourage you to turn yourself in. And he said back, of course. So he knew he needed to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I'm glad about is that this situation will force him to be sober. And
yeah, definitely. I'm worried about him from that side of things too, because he was doing really good for a while there.
Sorry, guys.
But I mean,
you can see me.
He
now.
went through.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I just hit the wrong
button.
button.
No, he went through a really hard thing with the non-sec issue, because when you go and look out at the internet, what you notice is that this group of people is embroiled in several different engagements, right? And those people, they're all kind of like disconnected. They might know each other, but that's as far as it goes. And you notice all of them, and I've been making this case going back a long time, all of them have the same things happening. They get family members contacted. They get accounts threatening them. They get doxes going out there. We just had a recent issue with Steve doxing somebody on Twitter. I won't bring it up.
Sure.
And when you see this behavior from them with everyone that they're engaged with, you have to then say to yourself, why are they not taking a stand against the worst behavior? And we know why, because we see that the worst behavior, the worst kind of inciting, comes from the inner core group. And that's what they want. That's what they're doing. They're trying to punish people that they don't get what they want from. And it's led a lot of people to finally say it's time, since they want to demand this kind of justice from Kyle. It shouldn't be one-sided. It should be that all this doxing bullshit gets handled, all of the threats get handled, and that both Reds, Steve, Kyle, all of them face a resolution for all the things they've done. Because we've got Reds, Sean and Ilya running all these fraud raisers. We've got Kyle now with these issues. It's hard for someone to stay sober when people are sending him death threats that are, you know, trying to tell him to get AIDS and die, and they do this to him daily. And, you know, it only goes so far. It's not an excuse or an out for him, but you can kind of see how it was easy for him to crumble, and now he's out of control, and it sucks.
I understand. On the screen right now, I'm putting Kyle's arrest warrant. So, you know, I don't want anybody to say that, like, this is a stream to hide for Kyle or a stream to defend Kyle. I do not think you're going to hear that tonight. You know, later on, we might have some people in Discord that might. I am going to open the floor later to whoever wants to come in. But I am definitely not here to defend Kyle. My goal was to bring Kyle on Thursday night and call him out and say, Kyle, go handle your fucking issues. Because you can't avoid them forever. And
true.
I wasn't really open about that because I didn't want him to back out.
Yeah. Well, he's basically upfront to everybody that he doesn't want to handle this.
Right.
He's under the impression that he gave Steve a chance to become a partner with Nonsec. Kyle will show the DMs, he'll show the conversations to anyone that asks to see him. He's very upfront, and he's very honest about, you know, him trying to get Steve to file a tax identification number and to sign business contracts that would have put down on paper everybody's stake in the company. And we all know publicly, this is a public admission from Steve and Reds and everybody around Steve, that he chose not to. He said, no, I'm not going to enter into a business partnership. Kyle can own it all. He can, you know, take responsibility for all of it. He can be on the hook for all the taxes. Are we in a position where smart people out there will say to them, well, they will ignore all of that, and they'll say Kyle's in the wrong for stealing from Steve, when Kyle wasn't obligated to pay Steve. Steve could have been paid. He could have been obligated to be paid. But if you and I started a podcast today and it blew up and had 1 million subs overnight, and we decided to sit down and do some contract, you know, we would have to put into paper who's going to do what, how it's going to work. And when Kyle did that with Steve, he said no. And I have him recorded in my first interview with him saying, no, I didn't want to sign papers. I didn't want to be a partner. I didn't want to go into business with them. I just wanted to show up and have fun on the show, which, by the way, is a completely legal way of handling things.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. But, like Lolly says, that doesn't mean he gets to ignore a warrant.
No, I agree. I think he should go in and handle his warrants. We've all tried. I've tried, and everyone else has tried to tell him to do it, but, he won't.
Bunny,
So
you ask
free.
a great question, but Uni and I are not lawyers. I'm not going to speculate on the legal case. If the judge says it belongs to Steve, it belongs to Steve. If he says it belongs to Kyle, it belongs to Kyle. If he says
No,
it's 50,
definitely.
I don't know. No, I can't answer that question. I don't think anybody could give you a reasonable answer to that question except the judge, right? The judge is the only one that's going to be able to do that, so.
All we know now is that Steve went in and took an affidavit. He signed his words to paper, gave it to the judge, and got a default judgment to be a 50-50 partner.
Right.
So that's all we know. We know that Kyle owns 50, Steve owns 50. Neither of them can use non-sec without the other's okay and approval, which, by the way, means non-sec as an entity is done. That default judgment guarantees the destruction of non-sec, because Kyle's not going to sit there and allow Steve to cyberstalk him and harass him, lie about him, make all this money off of Kyle's name and off of the non-sec business, but then ignore that when he goes to the judge. He didn't tell the judge a single word about the amount of money he's made from the patrons. Now, have you seen the image where it shows that on the day Steve McRae told the non-sec audience to leave the non-sec Patreon and join his Patreon, Kyle went down to like 10 from like 120,
right?
And Steve went up to like 120.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen that. I've seen that stuff. Sure.
And I think all this should be fairly hashed out. And I think I have a theory why Kyle won't go in and do this, and I think it's what Steve is calling Kyle's bluff on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they did anything they were supposed to with the business. I think it hit them hard and it hit them fast. They both weren't prepared. And I think they had a mutual agreement to pay Steve under the table for certain amounts of his time, minus what Kyle would be on the hook for with taxes and operation costs. And we pretty much have all of that public at this point.
Sure.
And I've had Kyle pretty much do everything except acknowledge it, because he would get in trouble theoretically if it gets shared around. But now this is what happens when you have a contract between two people that is illegal by nature, right? What happens then? And I don't think Kyle wants to stand in front of a judge and tell the judge that him and Steve tried to hide Steve's income through allowing Steve to, quote, be a partner without on paper being a partner. And I think everybody out there can see that that's the case with non-sec, right?
Well, I agree with you on some of your points. I think on some level they're both culpable. If they're both business owners, then they both were culpable for any taxes or any costs or whatever. I also think, we have that screenshot of Steve saying to Kyle, I forget exactly how it's worded, so I'm going to paraphrase, but something about I needed to look it over before you pay me anything, for my Medi-Cal, however it's worded. I'm not remembering. So
he can only make $400 or something. Yeah.
Right. So if Kyle knew, then Kyle is also culpable for helping Steve hide his income. And
well, that's the point. I think that's what caused the big destruction, the mutual destruction.
Sure.
Because it was right around that time that this all happened where Kyle kind of put his foot down and said, no, give me a 10. And that's why Kyle shared that message. He's saying, look, instead of me going forward, keeping everything secret, I said to Steve, no, I'm going to do it by the books. I'm going to do it the right way. Kyle had already been to prison. This is Kyle's side, but you know that.
Sure.
Kyle had already been to prison. He's going to do it by the books. He wasn't going to commit to meeting Steve at NunCon with a duffel bag full of cash like Steve wanted. So, I mean, that's why I hold this opinion now that there's so much there that both of them should just let go away. And it seems like Kyle's at that fair point. He's at the point where he wants to retire non-sec and never use it again. It seems very strange that Steve and Red's rhetoric in Cheshire are so hell-bent on going to court and becoming and making Steve a 50-50 partner, when these types of things will have to be answered for. If you're going to force it, isn't Kyle going to make sure that because his name is on it, that there is no impropriety, that it's all done by the books, right? I mean, he's going to have to then.
I mean, I hope he did. I mean, the issue is that I don't see a lot of evidence of that in the financials that I've seen. And I'm not a financial expert or a lawyer. I'm not saying that I am, but it looks like Kyle might have dipped further into the coffers than he should have. And that he may have taken some money that should have gone towards things like taxes and used it for personal expenses, which...
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's his choice, you know?
Sure.
People do that all the time.
Sure.
If he's the owner, if he's on the hook for that money and he wants to do that, he'll just have to end up paying it back. Nobody escapes that stuff, right?
Sure. My point is this. If it's true that he and Steve are 50-50 partners, then my question is, are they going to be... I don't know. I shouldn't get into the financial stuff. I shouldn't. Because
No. You're good. I get what you're saying, and you're making a good point. And the problem is we've got two separate claims, and we always have. That's what the other side, Steve and his cohorts, won't be upfront about. They won't be upfront about the fact that Steve claims he was a 50-50 partner the whole time, and Kyle claims that he's taking and he's making a semantic argument out of this. Kyle says he agreed to give Steve 50% of the videos that he appeared in, not to give him 50% of the business. And because of the fact, if Kyle would have never offered Steve a contract, I could say to myself, sounds like either Steve or Kyle is lying to try to drive the opposing person out of the business. So why is it that I can't believe that? It's because Kyle tried his damnedest and has proven to the public that he did to get Steve to sit down and sign a 50-50. Or whatever it would be. I'm only assuming 50-50 from Steve's side. Whatever the contract, that's why I hate that we don't even have a filled out non-sec contract where, they both just decided not to sign it in the end, because then we could at least try to go off of what they both filled in. Sure. We don't have that. So it's just this really shit. Now, everything we're saying here is personal business. This isn't Kyle stealing money from Steve. Mm-hmm. It's not Steve stealing money from Kyle. Everything we've talked about up to now is two people doing whatever it is they want to do, having the option to under-report someone if they want, over-report, whatever it is they're going to do. This is them handling their personal business. In my opinion, this has nothing to do with theft and stealing, and all that garbage. So this all should have just been handled by Steve and Kyle. It's the inclusion of Cheshire and Reds, who both come into this story and bring a narrative that they refuse to back down from, even though we have video recordings of both of them saying the opposite, when this all popped off. That's the issue, I think.
Well, when I talked to
other people's intention in it.
Sure. When I talked to Kyle this morning, I directly asked him, I said, do you feel that the warrant was filed on false pretenses, I think is how I said it. And he said, yeah, that's the argument I'm going to make, that the warrant itself wasn't filed honestly, and I asked him if he had a lawyer.
Good. I'm glad he is doing that.
Well, I asked him if he had a lawyer, and he said no. And I said, well, one thing you really need to do is to get a lawyer. Like, if there's a warrant out where someone has made something up and made some sort of false pretenses, then you need to get a lawyer. The other thing I asked him directly, did you forge any documents? And he said, no, I did not forge any documents in the case. That was his answer. Yeah,
he's told me that same thing also.
So,
and he's pretty upfront with me about the dumb shit he does. Did he forge? Maybe, but he is claiming he did not. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. It's just I want to believe him because he and I get along so well. We create together well. But listen, if somebody had gotten a warrant against me under false pretenses and said false things about me, I would be fighting tooth and fucking nail.
Yeah,
and
I think he's going to get to that point.
Well, one of the things I was going to ask him on Thursday night was, why aren't you fighting this? Why are you just letting this fester?
Kyle showed me some stuff. And all I can do is tell you what Kyle told me and what he showed me. Kyle, you know, I guess he trusts me a little bit. I think that when I was willing to hear out Kyle and Katie and then look at everybody's evidence. Now, Steve will say I didn't look at his. Yes, I fucking did. It's just that his evidence is bogus. His stuff is basically just a bunch of promises with a bunch of opposing statements to go against what he's claiming. But I looked at all their evidence, and I think that Kyle saw I was willing to represent everybody's opinion and everybody's evidence to my audience. And I think that's why he comes to me and kind of shows me stuff and tells me stuff. And I'm not saying that it's a blanket defense. I'm saying that Steve McRae wants people to treat him as if he is some businessman who's been done dirty, and he's needing your money. He's needing your help. He needs constant donations. He needs to be constantly cared for by everybody else. And that is just so far from the truth, because Kyle has shown me all the way up even to recently that he's been getting horrendous threats and horrendous harassment. And we do know people like, and I hate to bring him up, but Ruhiff contacted Kyle's boss trying to get him fired. That should have nothing to do with any of this garbage. We could name any of the millions of things that has happened that show that Steve, Reds, and Chesh are harassers, that they don't fight, they don't ban people from their audience who break the boundary, at least even temporarily, until they're going to stop doing whatever it is they're doing. In fact, they incite the nastiness. That's what Kyle shows. He says he got suicidal with the amount of threats that he got. And finally I said, show me. I said, Kyle, I'm sorry, but you got to show me, man. You can't just, you got this dude out there saying everything coming out of your mouth is a lie. I believe you, because I've received threats after I pissed Steve off. But you got to at least show me. And he opened up his Discord. He opened up his Twitter. He opened up all kinds of social media. I have never seen anything like it. And he's got it all saved. That's the one saving grace about this situation. When he told me that he was about to kill himself because he was waking up, no matter where he went online, he would have just constant death threats, constant gay bashing, constant, you know, nastiness thrown at him.
Right.
He just didn't, he said he doesn't want to see it anymore, doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, and he's not going to participate while that's all going on.
And I understand that, but at the same time, I feel like I'm talking to Kyle. At the same time, he's got a legal issue. Like, you can't ignore a warrant. It doesn't matter who you are or what you did. If a judge says you have to come see me, you have to go see the judge. That's just how shit works.
He is tomorrow, and he got forced to.
It's true.
I mean, look, if we're going to take what Reds and Steve say is true, then Kyle got picked up, they called their lawyer, and the lawyer legally caused Kyle to be held. Now, I do agree with Kyle, and the reason I do about him being illegally held and illegally arrested, and until, you know, Kyle gets to make his argument, and we'll see what happens, but this is why I believe Kyle, because they tried to get this judge to issue a warrant to force Kyle to appear, and the judge wouldn't do it. So they went to their lawyer, and they admit this, and they had Steve file an affidavit so that if the judge put out a warrant to have Kyle picked up, it wouldn't be on the judge, it would be on Steve's words, right? Because you could tell that the judge is like, this is a civil case. Kyle Curtis has not foregone his constitutional rights by committing a crime. He's not even accused of a crime right now. He's not being charged. He's not being accused. Therefore, the judge seemed as if the judge wasn't going to put out a warrant to pick up Kyle because of that.
Real quick.
Then Steve files the affidavit, and now he does. But go ahead.
Real quick, just a channel note. I know you see my PayPal links and my coffee links and everything. Just in case you guys haven't been watching, you don't know what's going on. Any donations that you're making right now through coffee, through PayPal, anything, all go to Batsy just to support her for all the work she does for the channel. So none of that money goes to me. It's all Batsy's money.
Help out the Batsy.
She can't be here, unfortunately, because she's taking care of the child tonight. But yes, so any donations that you make to the channel, they go to Batsy. They don't go to me right now. So just letting you guys know that.
No,
all right.
So I don't know what to believe, Ethan. All I can do is take what Kyle says as Kyle's claim, and then I can take what Steve says as Steve's claim, and then give my opinion. And that's what I've done through this whole thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Lucifer, we looked up simple assault. Let me find that screenshot because I've got that. I want to put that up on screen in case you guys don't follow me on Twitter, but you really should. Twitter.com/EthanPlaysLive because I'm awesome, obviously.
Well, you know, that simple assault can be just as much as him threatening to beat somebody up.
That's where I'm going to show this real quick. Let me get this up on screen. All right, so
it really makes me wonder what happened, you know? I guess we'll hear from Kyle, right?
So simple assault, there are a number of crimes. Oh, let me get the messages out of the way. Sorry. There are a number of crimes that apply to situations. Let me read this real quick. Whether you are in an altercation with another person, sometimes you do not even have to come into physical contact with the victim to be charged with a crime. For example, you can be charged with simple assault in two situations. A failed battery attempt. You attempted to cause serious physical harm to another individual. So this would be like trying to strike someone. Or a threatening act. You caused an individual to be in fear or apprehension that an imminent battery would occur. An example of this is waving your fists at someone. So apparently, according to the court, not me, I'm not making an allegation, and Kyle is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's how our legal system works. He either threatened somebody or tried to harm someone.
Yes, and I hope that Kyle got in a fight or something, because I'm hoping Kyle just wasn't chilling, doing because he was talking to you. He's also talking to a few other people in the background, trying to get advice on what to do, how to handle it, all that shit. And then all of a sudden he's picked up. It does cause some conspiracy theories to kind of go through people's heads. One of the major theories, just everybody ignore it, I'm admitting it's a theory, is that it's possible Ben Potts called or someone called and made a complaint against Kyle that he got picked up for. Maybe not. Maybe Kyle got in a fight. Maybe Kyle threatened somebody. I guess we'll all find out in the morning, right?
And like Daryl says, if Kyle goes into the hearing in the morning and lays out mitigating circumstances with evidence, he could get this thrown out. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's a misdemeanor. It's not felony assault. He didn't, swing a baseball bat at somebody or anything like that. According to the allegation, again, we don't know what happened. I'm just saying this type of simple assault means he didn't, try to run someone over with a car or something. So maybe there are mitigating circumstances.
And Kyle could have just gotten an argument with his boyfriend, and his boyfriend could have called the cops. We just don't know. And that's Kyle's business again. Kyle having some thing happen with his, people like Steve and Reds, they don't have this problem because they're incels, and they just sit around the house, cyber stalking Kyle around.
Okay.
I'm sure if they had girlfriends, I know, I'm just being funny, but I'm sure if they were out doing things, they'd probably get into some mischief themselves. So the point I'm making, though, is when it comes to the non-sec case, what I think everybody wants is for this to be over with.
Yes.
I think everybody wants it to be over.
Fucking men. It's been 2 years? Is that right?
Yes.
2.5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this shit needs to end.
Yeah. And you look at Steve and you look at Reds, and they both pretend as if they want this to end. But I really don't think they do, because Steve always uses every tiny step of the non-sec situation as content to go live and just complain about for 5 hours. So, he's making money off the non-sec. And he does have a new lawsuit, though, so who knows? We know that Ruhif's not around to fund according to people. Won't go any deeper than that. I'm a little bit, I think it's pretty messed up. I just want to say this, that Reds and Steve can say every detail about Kyle's life, even doxing Kyle's new boyfriend's first and last name, which Cheshire and Steve both did, and doxing where the guy lived. They can put everything in the world out about Kyle, but when they have something bad happen for their side, they keep it hush-hush. They keep it under, board, and I don't like that. I think we should know the truth about what's going on with the non-sec case from Steve and Reds. We shouldn't just find out when they're harassing the hell out of Kyle. So hopefully this is it. Hopefully tomorrow Kyle shows up. He can tell the judge, I'm not handing over the channel. Maybe he'll change his mind. Maybe he'll hand over the channel. He says he's not going to. And maybe not. Maybe he'll do what Daryl said, and he'll drop video clips, because all of us don't know why Kyle won't drop video clips. We've got video clips of Steve, Reds, and others admitting that Kyle didn't steal money from Steve. And this is after Steve got kicked off the show. A lot of people just wonder why Kyle won't go and show the judge all the things that they've said, because their words will be evidence in this situation. But what do you think, Ethan? Why won't Kyle go in and just lay it all down? What's your take?
I think it's one of three things. And I'm sorry, I'm reading Discord. The people are posting some stuff that I was reading. I think it's a couple of different things. I think anytime you see someone avoiding things, it's because they're afraid of something. And Kyle's afraid of something. I don't know what. That was another thing I wanted to ask him on Thursday night is, what are you afraid of that you're not addressing this? What is it that you're trying to avoid? What are you trying to stay safe from?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. It doesn't make any sense to me, because if it were me, like I said, I'd be fighting tooth or nail. I'd have had a lawyer 10 times over by now, and I'd have gotten this thing addressed.
He could be afraid of the forging allegation. He could have maybe tried to fudge some of the paperwork.
It's possible.
Maybe.
I mean, I asked him directly today. I asked him directly. I said, did you submit forged documents? And he said no. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, Kyle lies. You know, you can't trust Kyle.
Oh, no.
But I got to go on his word.
You can't trust Steve. Yeah,
sure.
You can't trust Steve either, so.
Right, but I mean, I got to go on his word. Like, I got to.
Yeah.
At this point, I have to go on his word. He says he didn't do it, then I have no choice but to believe him or not. And right now, I believe him until I have proof that, there's reason not to.
It's just like when Kyle first went in to, file the non-sec case rebuttal. You know, if Kyle wanted to walk in and just punch the judge in the face,
right?
Nobody would be like, "Oh my God, I expected that." But it is a possibility. Kyle could do it. So I mean, it's the same kind of extreme thing if he forged documents, because one thing about this group of people, and the group I'm talking about is the non-sec, which is Kyle, Steve, Reds Rhetoric, Katie, and a few others. What's his name? They all seem to kind of like not be on the up and up with everything. They have a lot of secrets they kept for each other. They got a lot of favors they did for each other. And I think a lot of that dirty laundry, they just don't want aired out, because it shouldn't be. It should be over.
Right.
Really, there's only one side who is, and this is the craziest thing, Steve and Reds are unwilling to relent when it comes to non-sec. And how is it that that's the case when, according to every fucking YouTuber that exists, they effectively stole non-sec? Non-sec is not the YouTube account that, does Steve really think that Kyle has to hand over the AdSense account and all this garbage? No, that's all in Kyle's name.
Right.
Kyle gets to keep all that. So it's like, why do you care? You could literally make the new non-sec show. You've got 95% of the patrons. You've got 90% of the audience that's still left. And instead of going out and doing the show that they promised the patrons, that they promised the people, they entered into a fucking lawsuit where they didn't spend their own money, which I find disgusting. And they then started to attack Kyle and Katie. And if you look at Steve's situation with Katie, he's in a really bad place right now. So, I mean, I really think Steve's just dumb. I think he's just a dumb guy. Why would he be, once he makes those statements towards Katie, and I just shared a video clip on Twitter of him saying, I'm not going to say this again live. I'm never going to say that again, which implies he did say it before.
Sure.
Once you do that, and a woman comes back and says, hey, I told you not to do it. You did it anyway. I'm telling the public that you've been gross to me. You would just think he would say, no, screw you, Katie, you're wrong, and move on with his life. And he could have been making thousands off non-sec. But instead, he has devoted all this money to attacking Katie. It's hard. It's really hard to grasp. It's hard to think he would make that decision as a sane adult.
Yeah, I've asked Kyle multiple times, did Katie come to you the next day and tell you that happened? He said yes. It was one of the final straws, along with the way that Steve treated Chris with the Patreon thing.
Yeah, $50 patron, yeah.
Right. So, I don't know on all of that. I've been so out of the loop. I mean, I took a year off, so I haven't even thought about that stuff in ages. My issue is this. I don't think that Kyle is going to get healthy until he gets disentangled from all of this. And the way to get the way out is through. And he needs to address his mental health issues that he's obviously having. He needs to address his addiction issues that he's obviously having. He needs to address his legal issues that he's obviously having. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to tell him on Thursday night is I want to discuss with you, but not until you get everything handled.
Yeah, and you're right. We all want everybody to do good. I want to see Steve out there making all the dumb pseudo-philosophical arguments he wants to make are,
Sure.
getting owned by everybody. I want to see Kyle out there making the non-sec content, whether it's on non-sec or whether it's on a new channel. I want to see Katie and everybody else doing their thing, and if someone has a problem, I want to see people making YouTube videos to address it.
Right.
I don't want to see all this background bullshit like lawsuits, like cyber stalking, doxing, threats. And the fact is, there's one side of this battle who will not address all of these things, even though it is provable that these things are massive problems.
Sure.
And I really feel that Steve, Reds, Chesh, they have to come out. They have to kick anybody from their group who's been actively doxing. That would be pro-doxins, has to be completely disavowed. Several other people have to. Steve needs to apologize where he doxed people. And they all need to take a break from each other and separate and do their own thing. Because it's the toxicity that happens when these people are connected. Doesn't matter if it's Kyle and Katie. Doesn't matter if it's Steve and Kyle. Doesn't matter if it's Steve, Reds, and Prodoxins.
Well,
there is something about them.
And there's this giant universe out there that, like, we're sitting on this rock spinning through the void at roughly 1,000 miles an hour, depending on which flat earther you ask. And there's just so much more to the universe than this shit. Like, it's so small. It's so small to be centered on these tiny things. And I think that there's a lot of people in that group that have a lot of potential and a lot of talent that could be making things that contribute in a more creative, more positive way. And I would love to see all of them do it. You know, I'm not going to name any names,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'm sure everyone can figure out who I'm talking about. That I just wish that was their focus, was creating new content. And, I feel like I'm watching the same movie over and over.
We are.
You know,
we are.
I feel
Yeah.
like I'm watching Star
It's
Wars
boring.
Episode 38, and it's like, please, guys, make something else. Just make something different.
Yeah. Well, and there's a stupid reason for that. And luckily, it's hit its end, especially with what happened today. Thank God.
Oh, Pirate Citizen,
like
thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good one. Thanks.
Well, it's like the everybody out there already has been ready to put this down, and it's almost like the universe is too, because now Kyle's getting picked up and he's going to be set down in front of this judge. That's a great thing. And I don't even think I think Kyle's going to kick himself after, because he's not going to be in some huge amount of trouble. I mean, even if he got busted for forging documents, I doubt they're going to lock him up too long, and they'll probably just give him probation. And let's say he even gets 6 months or something, he'll just be in and out and back on with his life. The problem is, people look at the way that certain creators choose to always take things behind the scenes, into groups. They're willing to lie. They're willing to change history. And they realize that these types of things can be ignored until those people start seeking people out in real life, making threats, calling people's jobs and families. That's been the biggest problem that I think has held people's attention. Now, there is a concerted effort in the background that's happening that started independently from anybody on the YouTube space. And luckily, there's a bunch of viewers have banded together, and they're tired of all this.
Right.
And they're taking all the doxings, they're taking all the ban evading, they're taking all of the threats they can get their hands on. They're making a big petition, a big push to YouTube and Patreon. I think it's great. I think it will, all it's going to take is one person out there, Steve, Red, somebody, who has done a bunch of fucked up shit to finally have a penalty from it. And other people, before they go out and say, hey, I'm going to cyberstalk Charlotte now because Steve's mad at her, they'll finally say, you know what if my channel blows up after I cyberstalk Charlotte and I'm making $5,000 a month? I'm done. I'm screwed, because eventually this is going to catch up to haunt me. So that concerted effort from those people, I think, is the thing. And I hope more people get involved. And I hope they just keep demanding accountability from YouTube and Patreon, Twitter, and the networks. And I hope that we get back to a YouTube where, you know, and this would be good for both sides. This is what creates content in a, quote, drama situation. It's where I have an issue with Ethan, so I make a video. I lay out what Ethan said. I give my opinion. I lay out the tweets, whatever's there that I want to point attention to. Ethan then can choose to not address it, deal with whatever consequence he gets from the audience for not addressing it, or he can choose to respond, and they can then respond back, and it can go on as long as it goes. Now, that's just the way YouTube's always worked. In this space, though, in this area, these creators know that because they've messed up, because they cannot be criticized, they are uncriticizable, certain creators, they don't let themselves be, they can't allow that process to happen. I do think that we will get a resolution. We'll get some of these creators who have been doxing and threatening people, like Steve and others, to finally have to hold to accountability for what they've done. And I think it'll release the community. It'll release people back into saying, okay, things are set right. And it doesn't mean Steve has to be banned. Steve just has to know the next time he gets mad at somebody, if they get doxed, he's going to be held accountable in a way. You know, he has to start banning people that dox, banning people, stop working with people who threaten him. He was just on some guy's channel. He had on his channel, and then he's in the chat of this guy's channel weeks ago while this guy's talking about visiting Katie, visiting myself, visiting Kyle, or maybe it wasn't Kyle, but, you know, fighting them, beating them up and all this garbage. And that's the problem. And I think that the only thing that will solve that is the viewership.
And think about getting that mad over something somebody said on YouTube, like getting emotionally affected. I mean, guys, I have bad news for you. YouTube does not matter 99.99% of the time. The only time it matters is when you try to take it into real life and harm people. But it's not that important. Like, there's so much in my life that doesn't go out on my Twitch and YouTube channels that you have no idea is going on.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
mine too.
Sure. That's every creator. Every creator. Well, maybe not every creator. There's some creators that put a lot out there, but the vast majority of creators keep stuff private just because it's either not interesting or they just don't want to, and they should be able to. We're here to entertain. You know what I mean? It's just kind of silly to me. I don't know. It kind of boggles my mind sometimes how emotionally invested people get about what other people say on their YouTube channels.
Yeah, and that's what we're dealing with. That's why we're dealing with a lawsuit against Katie. Katie has that side of her, and that's what I tried to help her with when I used to talk to her. It's like, hey, let these people talk all they want. Unless you give them attention, they're not going to continue with you because it's just going to not reward them. And, you know, that's what we see here is we've got, you know, Red's rhetoric, and Steve will try to pretend that everybody else is butthurt and upset because they're the biggest celebrities ever. Everybody's mad because they won't hang out with them and all this. And it's just not the case. The case is that Red's doxed Crafty. Steve doxed me.
Sure.
he goes and doxes Charlotte.
I don't even know
and
who
these
half of
things
these people
happen.
are, but yes.
Well, yeah,
No,
this happened while you were gone,
Right,
and
right.
they're the point is though, it's like we want to hear Crafty, we want to hear Charlotte, I want to hear even Steve, but why? But we won't get Steve to make a video unless he goes live and rants, and then unfortunately, that's when these other people who want to impress him, they want his attention because he's got the appearance of having more subs than them. They try to simp up to him, and that's creating this cycle
Right.
that he pretends he can't see. I know he can see it. I know he knows it's happening. And that all is going to be handled, thank God. But Kyle, Katie, Steve, I think that's a good point. They're all kind of toxic for each other. They all should just be ignoring each other, moving forward with their lives, all existing on their own,
Sure.
and not caring about the other people anymore.
Menace,
it sucks, but
Menace is asking a question. So I know I've been putting your comments up on screen, but now I want to get into questions. If you have a question for me, it doesn't matter how confrontational, as long as you're not being a dick. You can ask me confrontational questions, guys. It doesn't offend me. So I want to get into questions because I want to keep this relatively short for rewatchability. But Menace asks, who's got a better view, Steve or Kyle, asking for Reed Charbonneau? And Uni, who do you think has a better view?
Oh, man, Kyle definitely, even in his cell, he's probably got better food, too. No, we didn't bring it up. I'm not going to rant, though. I think that Steve, Reds, they should really, instead of worrying about Kyle, let the legal system work, and they should worry about their own issues, because they've got this, Reds at least, has this issue of the fraud raisers that blew everybody's mind, and he's going to have to handle that pretty soon. So I think all of us are going to be sitting here looking at all of the problems these guys have had coming back to be resolved very soon, and I'm happy for that. I hope it's over for Kyle and Steve, and then when Reds gets his fraud raiser investigation, then it'll be over for him and we can all move on. I think that's going to be a good thing. No, a better view, Kyle, 100%.
Yeah, I think so too. I think even if Steve wins, all he wins is a defunct channel that he can't use. And I mean, I guess he gets the, I mean, right now the default is a winning state. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying if once all of this is hashed out, if Steve is given everything, I still think Kyle comes out on top because all Steve won was something he can't really use. He gets the satisfaction of winning.
Doing it back.
Right. Yeah. He gets the satisfaction of winning, which, I mean, it's a good ego boost. It's a good, I don't know. I mean, he'll make content off of it. So, it'll be good for his bank account. But yeah, I mean, I would say Kyle. Lauren says, I just hope Kyle gets some help and deals with the mess he's made of his life now. Lauren, that was my main goal with Thursday night, was to get as many people hyped up as I could to get them watching, so that there were a lot of people that heard me say almost exactly that to Kyle, that he has to fix everything. I want to create with Kyle. Doing Discuss is some of the best content I think I ever made on the channel. But it was a big part Kyle's contributions. I'm a better creator when I'm creating alongside Kyle Curtis. It's just a matter of fact. And I would like to do that again, but I can't do it when he's got all this shit hanging over his head. And he's just got to address it, man. You got to just face it down. And I know it's hard. And what I was going to tell him is that I'll be there for him and I'll support him in any way, shape, or I can. Maybe not financially, but I'll be there emotionally for him. But he has to face it head on. And and Sam, hold on real quick, because Sam asked a question earlier. Why would I even do that? To some effect, Sam, because no matter where anyone is in their life, they always deserve a friend. They always deserve somebody to support them. And I can look at Kyle and say, you've made mistakes and maybe I don't trust you, but I'm going to be there for you. Not everybody's like me. And I understand that. I have a level of empathy that a lot of people don't have. A lot of it's probably unnecessary and gets me into emotional states that probably aren't that great sometimes, but it's just the person I am. And I'll give a man 1,000 chances if that's how many he needs. So. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Kyle going forward, he always says, well, I'm never coming back to YouTube. And I think he should think about it. He looks at YouTube as destroyed for him. The truth of the matter is, nobody gives two fucking shits about what happened 3, 4, 5 years ago. They all know what happened now. They all have an endless content they can sift through if they want to get caught up on whatever part they want to see. And really, it's that kind of virtue signally, hey, you have to give me victim points that from maybe Steve and others. I think that's what everybody's tired of. We don't have to live in that place where we validate the victimhood that he claims Kyle gave him, especially when there's so many lies out there like Nate harmed Sweet Heathen and just all this other garbage. And I think people just want to see good content. So you come back, Kyle comes back, everybody gets back out there doing their thing. All of this is just going to be a memory from the past. Let's just hope to God that that's what happens tomorrow. That this is like, is it even possible? Kyle walks in, the judge tells him, hey, whatever. Then they end up all going their separate ways. Let's hope to God that happens, because Jesus, man.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. I am not a person that harbors hatred for Steve McRae. He said horrible things about me. He's done entire streams on me about what an awful, terrible person I am and whatnot. It's fine. It's whatever. And that's the person that he chooses to be. And the only thing that I can do is choose to be the person that I want to be each day and try to be better than the person I was yesterday. I rarely succeed in that, but every once in a while I come through and I swing for the fences at myself and I hit a home run. And hopefully tomorrow's one of those days.
I think it will be, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Colin says, Ethan, I could tell you be a good friend in any situation. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. You have to write out others' problems. They have to face whatever music they face. You just have to say that's the past. Let's do better. Colin, there's the reason that I'm this kind of person today is that I haven't always been a good friend to people that I should have been a good friend to.
Exactly.
And I learned that mistake, and I would much rather be there for somebody who doesn't deserve it than not be there for somebody who really needs me. That's the lesson I learned in life. So
it's a two-pronged sword kind of deal, right? A two-sided sword. Because you can't just say that we have to move on and do better and all this stuff. You also have to be forgiving, but only to a degree when somebody deserves it. That's what I think needs to happen here. We've got Kyle, and Kyle will, if he starts talking about this shit, man, he just breaks down crying, and I'll start talking to him, be like, bro, come on, what is it? Well, I lied about having a lawyer, and I told this other lie. There's these two lies that Kyle told. And he has been nailed to the fucking wall over these two lies. I've seen him cry at least 40 fucking times bringing up these lies.
Yeah.
And they're the most minor little things ever. Because he shouldn't even have to be telling people about his personal business, his personal lawyer. That shouldn't be broadcasted out there. That should be the shit he holds to himself. And that's one thing I think both. You can't just demand that Kyle be a better person. We got to demand that Steve, Reds, and the rest of them also do too. The problem is they don't want to be. They've told us they just want to see Kyle suffer. They just want to get blood out of the man. And as long as Kyle is going to give them the power by dodging court and give them the power by staying off of YouTube and give them all of this extra angst and anger and resentment, he's never going to disconnect from this. So I hope he does just take the bull by the horns and deal with that shit tomorrow.
Yep.
Come back to YouTube, go on your channel, maybe even go back to, go make a new channel, go to non-sec.
Yeah, he's got a Kyle Curtis channel, I believe. I believe he has his own channel that he could just go on, And I want to address something that was coming up in the chat. That doesn't mean I necessarily forgive them when they've made 1,000 mistakes. It just means that I'm still good to them. Let's be honest. I'm not a pushover. It doesn't mean that, now I trust you again because you told me to trust you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you still treat them with dignity and respect and care no matter what they've done, because that's just being a good human being to other people.
That's if you are a good person.
Well,
that's, I think, the thing that came out of this. Well, it's not, you don't have to succeed in order to be a good person. You have to try your ass off. And what we have in this situation, unfortunately, Kyle he's not trying right now, and the other side isn't either. And they've got all these people giving their attention to these two groups, the Kyle side and the Steve side, while both of them are being shit people. And I think that equal accountability should be given to Kyle and Steve. Kyle's way ahead of the game when it comes to, he left for years. He's gotten his shit together in his personal life, not with the drinking and all that garbage, but with family and with friend relations, according to him, of course. And he wants to move on.
Sure.
So him doing that, I think, puts him ahead of the game. The other side, when they stop doxing and apologize for their doxings and their fraud raisers and their lies, people can give them a chance too. I just think we shouldn't give Kyle or Steve a chance until they do that.
Well, listen, I'm gonna close it down with the statement.
I gotta go anyway, buddy.
No, you're good. I want to thank you for coming on, Uni. I do. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
I appreciate you, man. Guys,
I'll see you soon, bub.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, I'm going to close it down with the final statement that I was going to make on Thursday night's show, so you get to hear it 3 days early. Outside of the streams that already exist, I will never again on this channel mention Steve McRae or Chesh or Red's Rhetoric or any of them. I'm completely done. And if Kyle wants to discuss again, he's got to address his legal issues, his mental health issues, if they're uncovered, and his clear addiction issues. And if he wants to do a discuss again, I will do discuss with him, but it can't be about Steve McRae. It needs to be about content that he and I are creating together that moves on a path forward. Because I want to move on a path forward. Like I said, I feel like I'm watching Star Wars Episode 38, and I'm bored. It's exhausting. It's not exhausting because it's emotionally taxing. It's exhausting because I'm fucking bored of it. I'm just done with it. I don't care anymore. Steve won. Listen to me. Look at me. Steve won. Now, maybe through some legal shenanigans of some kind, somewhere in some far-flung universe thing, Kyle can still pull out a quote-unquote win. Okay? I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to speculate on anything legal that might happen or not happen. As far as I understand, Steve won. Now, there's a whole financial issue to be addressed. There's a whole bunch of copyright issues to be addressed. They won't be addressed here because I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. So don't expect there to be a follow-up because there won't be. Because I don't care anymore. I have way bigger things going on, way more important things to me to address. So I just want to say, if you want to hear me speak any opinions on this, I did all that already, and you can go watch them. But moving forward, none of that shit's going to be on this channel because I don't care. I love you guys. Thank you to the mods. You did a great job tonight. Thank you for everybody who came by. Even if you hate me and you think I'm a terrible person, I appreciate you. Even if you came by just to give the video a dislike and left, I appreciate you. I do. And thanks for coming by. I stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. Check me out over there. I'm very active. Been doing some political debates. I'm going to be doing some more. And I've been having a lot of fun doing those. And that's probably going to be the bulk of my content over on Twitch for a while. I've got some new stuff coming here to the channel that will have nothing to do with any of this. So I'm very, very happy and excited about that. I want to thank you all for being here. Franklin, do you want to say goodnight to everybody? Is that what you came up? You heard me saying bye? And you know that means you're probably getting a snack? Is that what it is? Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Let's play it out.